It turns out picking up a series after more than a full year is trickier than I thought. Figuring out what to lead off with gave me pause, but after due consideration I think I have something that strikes a great balance. Something that's both a retro and a modern title, both a classic and a very new physical release. It's a game that I've wanted to make a feature on for a bit of time now, so let's dive, but not too deeply, into a game I think is really cool. It's time to rise from the ashes with Astro Ninja Man DX in this episode of Bullet Heaven. Astro Ninja Man DX was developed by Ricky and published for the Famicom in 2022 by Columbus Circle. As an enhanced version of Ricky's previous Astro Ninja Man release, the DX version adds new enemy sprites, new music, and a new quick game option to an already solid foundation. Though its gameplay is rather simple, especially by modern shooting game standards, Astro Ninja Man DX is still a game that I think does a lot of things right, especially for players breaking into shmups for the first time. So, let's take a closer look. Everyone, if not most of you, knows that I rather enjoy fixed shooters like Galaga 88, Cosmo Gang the Video, and Space Invaders Extreme. The gameplay is generally as simple as moving left and right and pressing a button to shoot, with varying features and mechanics added to spice things up. Astro Ninja Man DX falls right in with these sorts of shooters, but with its own simple set of ultra-simple rules. For one, shots are automatic. Ricky took the old mantra of always be shooting to heart and cut out the middleman for a constant barrage of shots. Meanwhile, a powerful but brief laser beam of shurikens called the Ninja Sword can be deployed with either of the Famicom's face buttons, further simplifying how the game is played. So long as the ninja power in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen reads max, it can be unleashed. It doesn't take too long to recharge, and its use is critical for both progression and scoring. At first, only Astro Ninja Man will be present on screen, but by shooting small ninja bunshin items, a series of shadows will join Astro Ninja Man to the left and right with every subsequent pickup. Maxing out at 4 shadows, not only will more fire occur, additional ninja swords will also fire when activated. The shadows also serve as a life gauge, which I think is a simple but super effective and clearly visual way to look at extends in this context. Only Astro Ninja Man himself can be hit by enemies or shots. His shadows are, as ninja doctrine dictates, invincible. But if Astro Ninja Man does end up getting hit, he'll lose 1 shadow. If no shadows remain and Astro Ninja Man gets hit again, he'll fall, and the player's game will be over. One thing I noticed was how having more shadows effectively reduced the distance that Astro Ninja Man could move, making some enemies and shots harder to avoid. It's a small but added risk-reward in that sense, though everything in the game is carefully orchestrated so as to be able to deal with the incoming onslaught without having to sacrifice shadows to do it. With all of this in mind, yes, Astro Ninja Man DX is a very simple, very straightforward game, and, as it turns out, very forgiving. With only 4 stages and not terribly much in the way of homing or tracked fire, enemy patterns and static fire shouldn't be too hard to commit to memory. The bosses that punctuate each area are somewhat formidable though, and can do a real number on even a fully powered up Ninja Man. A little strategy goes a long way though, and some bosses even have attacks that can be cancelled with just the right timing using the Ninja Sword. I did find an interesting quirk to Astro Ninja Man though. Players are unable to pause the game. That means once someone has started a run, they've got to be fully committed, unless they want to reset the game. Each stage offers a brief moment of rest, but not long enough for a snack or a pee break. It doesn't take long at all for the action to inevitably resume on its own. Generally speaking, Astro Ninja Man DX is a rather tame title for veterans, yet also a great place for brand new shooting game players to start, and perhaps even get their first 1 credit clear. Any of the game's 4 stages can also be selected from the options menu, allowing for each to be immediately accessed for single stage score attack or focused practice. This too is a very useful tool for brand new players. Finally, the added quick game allows for a very fast drop-in for a quick sesh single-stage run, but unlike the original Astro Ninja Man's SP stage, it's quite a bit shorter and features fewer enemies. The SP stage unfortunately does not exist in this release, though it's not really a huge hit to the content. Still though, it's something that players of the original release will definitely notice. From a gameplay standpoint, Astro Ninja Man is a game that I had a lot of fun with, if not simply as a title that I could somewhat relax to. There is one thing I wanted to touch on though, and that's console compatibility. While no single system is guaranteed to run this game, the retro USB AVS, my Famicom of choice, often misbehaves with Riki titles from Columbus Circle. However, I'm happy to report that Astro Ninja Man DX does in fact work on my AVS at least. While Astro Ninja Man's scoring is very basic on its own, the game does feature a neat wrinkle that I enjoy quite a bit. Essentially, as players take out complete enemy waves, destructible bonus coins will spawn which can be shot to boost the player's score. But this can be tricky, even starting with just the very first wave. Granted, it's not terribly much to be sure, but it creates an emphasis for speedy, efficient, and complete enemy kills to drive the numbers up as much as possible. In addition, some enemies can only be destroyed by using the Ninja Sword. In these situations, making sure the ninja power gauge is at max when it's needed is very important. A little memorization definitely goes a long way. There are even extra patterns that can be unlocked during boss events that not only create great scoring opportunities but also raise the risk-reward thanks to their often tricky placement or need for the Ninja Sword. Knowing that these opportunities exist has gotten me not only to tighten up my runs but also become quite a bit more daring in spicy situations. This is just the kind of replay value a short and simple game like this needs, and is something I'm going to more fully explore on future streams, guaranteed. Both the main game and quick game have a 3-slot leaderboard with room for a classic 3 initial player entry. Of course, as is usually the case, if the power is cut, the scores are reset. Astro Ninja Man DX has to be one of the coolest games ever released on the Famicom. Never mind the fact that this came out in 2022, I mean that's pretty epic in its own right, but the audio-visual stylings of Astro Ninja Man DX is just dripping with style. More than its gameplay, more than its score chase, more than anything else, you're going to want to play Astro Ninja Man DX for its presentation. Its visuals are not just cool, but instantly recognizable on a system that has no shortage of shooters, some rather legendary in fact, stretching all the way back to 1983. Astro Ninja Man himself has a fantastic design, and his enemies are well represented. Pretty much everything has a ton of great animation too, which is, of course, expected from a game from the 21st century. Big fights have great full-screen announcements, and bosses break apart as they take damage and progress to the next phases. And of course, the excellent imagery between stages and at the title screen just can't be ignored. It's a real vibe, and I dig it quite a bit. But never mind how cool it all looks, there's also some sorcery here too. The Famicom and NES can do neat things with its backgrounds, like splitting horizontal parts into parallax scroll, or representing huge bosses as what would be perceived as a giant sprite using the background layer, but at the cost of having just a solid color as the background. However, these special techniques are limited to just one at a time. But Astro Ninja Man can somehow do more than just one. It has huge objects that would normally be locked to the background moving around, while horizontal parallax is happening at the bottom of the screen all at once. It's really impressive stuff. Add to that a moving animated starfield and things get all kinds of crazy. Unfortunately, despite all of this coolness, there are going to be times when bullet visibility isn't going to be optimal. Of course, with a bit of experience, this should be a non-issue. But for me, the music is where it's at. It's got some of the greats, Bun from Ricky's own Kira Kira Star Knight DX and 8-Bit Music Power Final, and Hiroto Saito of Metal Stoker fame are great additions, but Manabu Namiki and Nobuyuki Shioda really steal the show. Namiki's tracks are unmistakable and sound excellent on the venerable Famicom, while Shioda's unmistakable stylings from Rekka bleed all the way through and just drip with excellence. To be 100% honest, it's worth buying a CD for. So when it's all said and done, where do my final impressions land? Let's take a look. Going into Astro Ninja Man DX, I really didn't know what to expect. The trailer promised great music, which was a big draw, obviously, but the gameplay? That was the big mystery. However, I can say with confidence that thanks to its sharp control, easy-to-grasp scoring, and stellar presentation, Astro Ninja Man DX is a game that was better than I anticipated. It may be on the easy side for players such as myself, but for newcomers, I believe it's a perfect entry point. Basically, Astro Ninja Man DX is a great time for different reasons, and it can appeal to a very wide audience thanks to its approachability and solid fun factor. I think you may have noticed that things feel a bit different now. Bullet Heaven is going back to its roots as a series about shmups I think are neat. Only now the final verdict is whether or not it was better, worse, or about the same as I expected going in. I want to examine games that I think I dig with personal thoughts and comments. I don't want to treat these features as actual reviews anymore, even though they will retain much of the detail the old ones did. And yes, the stars will remain in the final impressions, but they're meant to gauge how strongly I personally feel about what they represent rather than an actual rating. I know our longtime viewers know they can trust my opinions as opposed to a clinical rating going forward. I'm also now sponsorless, meaning I alone choose what to check out, buy, and play. This should foster a more personal experience and lead to more of a gray area that I believe more people will be able to identify with, relate to, or respectfully debate. I genuinely hope you all enjoy the new direction Bullet Heaven is taking, and as always, leave your respectful comments below. As before, I'll try to respond to everything that comes in. See you all in the next episode.